awake? Sleep well, did you?
Jak widzicie, zaczęliśmy kolejny odcinek. Nasz kolega się wyspał. Czy się wyspaliśmy? No tak.
I like to sleep late when I take a cruise.
While everyone else is hard at work.
Have you arrested anyone yet?
You mean besides the Arab?
He could hardly have committed the murder. You must have been with him when it happened.
We heard the shot on the forecastle. I locked our friend in the detention cell in the cargo hold, and then went up to assist Legrand. You were already sleeping the sleep of the just.
Czy są jacyś inni podejrzani?
Any other suspects?
No. Seconds after the alarm went off, the decks were swarming with frightened passengers.
Yes. A clever way to stay incognito during the commotion.
But we still have our primary suspect, the Raven.
You really think he's returned?
Well, I think that no one knows as much about the Raven as Legrand.
But still, it all seems so incredible.
Właśnie.
I didn't pass out last night because of the blow to my head, did I?
Seems unlikely. Inspector Legrand thinks
No, coś w szampanie.
But how? The champagne.
Who gave you the glass of champagne?
No kapitan.
Captain de Conti.
Interesting.
Cholera. Co chwilę ktoś podejrzany inny.
It should be possible to find traces of the tranquilizer in the glass.
That is exactly what Legrand is trying to do.
Without a laboratory?
Oh, he's got a lab. His cabin is packed with all the latest forensic stuff. It's quite impressive what the inspector can do.
A competent man, no doubt. And surprisingly well prepared.
And diligent. He's been at it all night with his brushes and tinctures and glasses and everything, working like a man possessed. I wouldn't want to be the Raven now.
What's the state of play? How was the Baroness killed?
The Baroness was shot in the chest at close range. We'll know more once the doc finishes examining the body in the medical centre.
And no one saw anything suspicious?
No one saw a shadowy Raven leaving the Baroness's cabin, if that's what you mean.
Ha ha
A
ha.
lot of people heard the gunshot. Inspector Legrand wants to question the passengers again this morning once they've all calmed down and he's had a chance to examine the evidence.
I suppose that you and Legrand inspected the crime scene and the surroundings.
Of course. And we already hit the jackpot. The murder weapon.
Really? Where did you find it?
On the gangway. The gangway for boarding the ship folds up and hooks onto the hull when it's not being used. The murderer probably wanted to throw the gun into the sea. He casually dropped it overboard.
But it landed on the gangway.
Bad luck.
But Legrand and I were on the side deck right after the shot. There was no one there.
Maybe the murderer threw the gun away later. We recovered it in the early hours.
I think I'll look for Inspector Legrand now.
Do what you think's best.
You won't get rid of me. I'm here to stay, Constable Oliver.
Be that as it may, Inspector Legrand ordered me to guard the cargo hold with our special guest. That's fine by me. Inspector Legrand may be able to get by without sleep for days on end, but not me. It's not easy playing with the big boys, Constable Zellner.
No, it certainly isn't.
Ciekawe. Nie wyrzucił broni w ogóle, tylko rękę wystawił. Co oni rozkminiają? Zamiast rzucić gdzieś w morze. Dobra, szukamy pana inspektora, tak? Czy dam radę tutaj zajść pod drzwi baronowej? Czy się zbuguje? Nie. Zobaczmy, co tu jest ciekawego.
The cabin was sealed. I'm pretty sure the seal doesn't have any legal relevance here on the open sea, but I'm still dependent on Legrand letting me join his team.
Nie liczyłbym na to.
Blow it by breaking his seal without permission.
No nic, to w takim razie, a czy tam dam radę? Panie, zejdź mi na dół. Nie wiem, co tam na dole jest. Chyba nie byliśmy tam jeszcze. Może kajuty jakieś? Ojejku. Sala szpitalna. Co tam jest? O, jest. Kajuta Allegranda. Rozejrzyjmy się tutaj. Idź na górę, to nie interesuje mnie teraz. Obejrzyj przedpokój.
I'm not paying for this trip, and that's a fair price for my cabin. It's rather...
Dobra. Co to tu jest? Jakiś model statku.
a model of the Lydia before it was rebuilt. It used to be the wide hallways, the cabins, and the saloon were added later.
Czy coś jeszcze? Jakaś roślinka.
A pitiful attempt to make the interior of the ship seem less dreary.
No, ogród botaniczny to nie jest.
The walls would have helped more, especially since a plant won't survive long without daylight.
No tak. Bez światła ciężko. Tam nie idziemy na razie. Jakaś tablica. Tablica ogłoszeń.
An evacuation plan? And some
800
tips
zł na
from the
płytę do
doctor
Biedronki.
for avoiding
Haha.
seasickness, sunburn and the like. And
Dobra.
here, a schedule of activities. A drink with the captain, a real barrel of fun.
Dobra, nie ma co przedłużać. Idziemy do tego Legranda. Barana jednego.
That is Legrand's cabin.
Oh, really? To wejdź.
Come in.
Amen. Jak gestapo. A tu w slipkach pobrał kąpiel. Haha. No, niedużo się pomyliłem.
Ah, Zone. Are you ready?
Myślałem, że
Good
kieliczek
morning,
trzyma.
Inspector Legrand. My head is pounding, but I think I'm okay.
Chloral hydrate.
Hmm?
That's why you had a headache. I found traces of it in your champagne glass.
No, to już wiemy. Narkotyki? Marihuanę?
And this chloral hydrate?
Is a tranquilizer. Can be dissolved in alcohol. The effect begins in minutes and lasts for hours. Who gave you the glass of champagne?
Captain.
I believe it was Captain de Conti.
If believing were enough for us, we'd have become priests, Constable. Be a policeman and find out for sure.
Understood. What have you found out so far?
The Baroness was shot in the chest at close range. We heard the shot. The murderer quickly fled the cabin and dropped the murder weapon over the railing later. A simple story so far.
But why was her cabin door locked?
Exactly. If the murderer wanted to make it seem like a suicide, he'd have shot her in the head and left the gun at the crime scene.
And if it was murder, why did he go to all the trouble of locking the door from inside? And how did he manage that anyway?
Especially since we arrived just a few seconds later and didn't see anyone near the cabin.
Something doesn't make sense here.
No, it doesn't, and it's driving me crazy.
No, porąbane to nieźle. Sam mam zagwozdkę. Jak to zrobił morderca. Złodziej mordercą, broń mordercy.
Did you find the murder weapon?
On the gangway on the side of the ship. I suspect the murderer tried to drop it into the sea. You would have stood close to the railing to let it fall unseen.
And since he doesn't know the ship, he had bad luck and dropped it right onto the gangway.
Indeed. And do you find that probable?
Not a bit.
Neither do I.
Co za nieprofesjonalizm. Dobra, dalej drążymy.
What kind of a gun is it?
A pistol,
Z kuszy!
a Luger
To był Wilhelm Tell.
Antique.
manufactured a million times during and after the First World War. Austrian model. The owner is David Kreutzer, the violinist. We found him tonight totally drunk on the bow of the ship. He confirmed that it's his gun, but he claims that it was stolen from him.
Fingerprints?
Nothing. But it's worth mentioning that the clip was missing 2 bullets.
Hmm. And it's definitely the murder weapon.
The ballistic tests are incomplete.
Actually, I've been waiting far too long for the bullet recovered from the corpse. Pay the good doctor a visit, Zelner, and see that he does his job.
Coś mi się wydaje, ten skrzypiek jest, kurczę, najbardziej podejrzany według mnie, ale pewnie będzie kto inny. Dobra, spytajmy o tego skrzypka.
Do you believe the violinist?
He'll be the first person I question. He claims he can't remember anything from the last few hours. Says he drank a bottle of schnapps.
He was on the train and he doesn't have an alibi. His drunkenness could be a smokescreen.
He fits the profile. He travels a lot, has access to high society. Could be interesting.
No, to jest ciekawe. Upił się po morderstwie i udaje niewiątko. Skrzypek z koziej dupy, trąbka. No,
You think that the jewel thief is the murderer?
Our friend would have needed another key to open the safe and steal the second eye, the one the Baroness was carrying. At least, that's what we imply.
What do you mean?
The Baroness was famous for her forgetfulness. I convinced her to give me the third key. It seems safer for the eye.
The thief searches the Baroness's cabin looking for the third key.
She returns from the saloon earlier than expected.
Surprises him, and he can't allow her to identify him.
He imprisons her until the coast is clear, and then shoots her.
And thus, the thief becomes a murderer.
But still doesn't have all the keys.
czemu nie strzelał frajer przez poduszkę, żeby stłumić strzał? No nie wiem, no ale to gra tylko jest, tak? Kruk, złodziej klejnotów.
Do you really think that the Raven is behind all this?
He wrote the letter that was on the safe in the train. Without the letter, we wouldn't have opened the safe and the bomb wouldn't have exploded.
But it doesn't seem like him, does it? The Raven was famous in part because he never hurt anyone, much less killed anyone, during a burglary.
It's his handwriting, and he called me Nico.
Może kruków jest dwóch?
I chased that man across Europe for years. It is him. It has to be him.
But the evidence...
Enough.
Kruk, podruba. Safe.
Are you sure that there's no bomb inside this time?
Professor Lucien locked it in front of an audience, and it will be opened for the first time in Cairo.
Let's hope so.
It would take hours to crack it, and you'd need heavy machinery.
Or the keys.
Or the 3 keys, that's right.
I'll be on my way. I want to find out who gave me the drugged champagne.
Good idea. And get the bullet from Dr. Gebhardt.
Of course.
No dobra, to mamy jakiś plan.
Inspector Legrand?
O, teraz ten
Are
padnie.
you okay? Maybe you should take a break.
I can sleep once I've caught the Raven. Goodbye, Constable.
Be seeing you.
Sayonara. A, myślę, że przeszukam pokój, ale nas wygonili.
Legrand is risking not just his career, but his health as well on his
No,
hunt
musimy
for
mu
the
pomóc.
Raven.
Hehehe.
He's working like a demon. Maybe that's why he caught the Raven.
Dobra, nie gadaj sam do siebie. Żniemy do pana doktora. No dobra, idę. Miałem coś innego zrobić jeszcze, ale jednak tam idziemy. Pogadamy z doktorem i będziemy finiszować odcinek. Come in. Następny. O kurde, mały szpital. Nie tak sobie to
Hello,
wyobrażałem.
Dr. Gebhardt.
Bardziej jak przychodnie w szkole.
And there's the next one.
Excuse me?
You want something else from me, don't you?
I'm afraid I do.
What a first day at work. Well,
Superancki.
I am told that I was drugged.
that's how it seems.
What can you tell me about it?
Me? Why should that be my business?
Haven't you analyzed the glass?
No, I haven't. The inspector said he's the better chemist. I let him do it. That way I could at least concentrate on the body.
A, bo to baronowa, widzę po rudych włosach. Zresztą kto by to inny mógł być? Czy Baronowa też została odurzona?
Do you think the Baroness might have been drugged? She was very
A,
tired
ona się
and
tak spiła, że
unsteady when Legrand and I
nie trzeba
saw
było
her.
jej odurzać.
Yeah, I heard about that. I must have just missed her in the saloon. And without having seen her myself, it is hard to make a diagnosis.
Of course. Can you say something about her general health?
She was quite overweight, and the butler said that she suffered from diabetes. Despite that, she hadn't visited a doctor for several years.
Doesn't sound good.
Happens more frequently than you might suppose. Some people are scared of doctors and pay with an early death. It is possible that the Baroness wouldn't have lived much longer anyway.
What's the result of your examination of the victim?
She is dead.
I didn't make you work all
No
night
tak.
long, Dr. Gebhardt.
She was shot. Point blank shot. Probably with a pistol.
No
It
tak.
seems
Przecież nie z
that
kuszy.
she was lying in bed. The shot struck
Aha,
her
dobra,
heart.
sarkazm.
She
E,
died immediately.
One shot?
nie, 20.
More were unnecessary. And we only heard one shot, no?
Gruby, myśl
There was
coś.
just one entrance wound.
Just one.
Co za gość.
Do you know whose glass I drank from?
What do you mean?
Captain de Conti handed me a glass of champagne. But where did he get it?
I don't know. Did you ask him?
I'm just asking because you were also in the saloon when the champagne was served.
Yes, but I only entered the saloon a few seconds before you did. I didn't manage to get a drink myself.
Which, in retrospect, is lucky.
Ah, you're right about that.
Ten doktorek też jakiś dziwny.
Have you already removed the bullet?
Did Legrand send you? What is that Frenchman's problem? I already told you. I will get in touch as soon as I have it. That is also what I told the constable, who he kept sending all night long, once I finally got rid of Legrand himself.
Did he look over your shoulder?
He probably wanted to take the scalpel from my hand and hack away himself. But this is my surgery, and I will not let amateurs interfere with my work.
That's understandable. How much longer will it take?
Co za down.
Finished.
I tyle rozkminy. Dawaj na bój i spadamy.
Regards to His Majesty.
Thanks. I think that's it for now.
No, strzałeczka.
That is it for now, then, and later.
Dobra,
I'm going to lie down for a few hours.
koń się.
Can you tell that to your boss?
But
Co za typy, same
could I
gbury.
at least have the key?
Absolutely not.
But if we have to examine the victim again,
Then the esteemed inspector knows where to find me. In my cabin. In bed. Good night, Constable Zelda.
Idź gnić, buraku. Dobra. Pogadaliśmy z chamami, impertynentami i też kończymy. Nara. Do następnego odcinka. Cześć.